everyone. Welcome back to the Playeasy Warmup, the podcast where we dive into the stories, people, and places driving the sporting event and tourism industry forward. I'm your host, Kerri Shields. Today, we're diving into one of the most accessible, fun, and fastest growing sports, foot golf, and the woman who's behind building it in the United States from day one. I'm joined by Laura Balestrini, co-founder and CEO of the American FootGolf League, president of the American FootGolf Federation, and a global leader on the board of the Federation of International Footgolf. Laura and her husband, Roberto, discovered footgolf more than a decade ago, fell in love with its simplicity and its potential, and decided to bring the sport to the U.S., long before most people had even heard of it. Since then, they've turned footgolf from a niche idea into a national movement, embraced by golf courses, recreational players, competitive athletes, families, and international federations. Under Laura's leadership, the sport has grown, from youth programs and school partnerships to major tournaments like the upcoming 2026 FootGolf World Cup in Mexico, which will bring together more than 1,000 players from over 60 countries. In this conversation, we talk about how footgolf grew in the U.S., what Laura looks for in great destination and golf course partners, why accessibility has always been at the heart of the sport, and how platforms like Playeasy are helping them reach new communities and find the right host. Laura's story is one of belief, persistence, and passion. And you're about to hear why footgolf really can be as fun or as competitive as you want it to be. Let's get into it. Welcome to Sports City, USA, Frisco, Texas. Ever wonder how a small town in North Texas became the epicenter of American sports? From the Dallas Cowboys to the PGA of America, Frisco is where champions train, fans gather, and unforgettable events come to life. In our new docuseries, Where Greatness Grows, hear the real story from the people who built it. City leaders, sports execs, and visionaries who turned Frisco into a powerhouse for tournaments and meetings. With world-class venues, championship fields, and top-tier hotels all in one place, Frisco is more than ready to host your next big event. Watch the story at sportscityusa.com.
You have so many of the professional leagues touching this community, whether it's Major League Soccer or the NFL or the PGA.
Failure was just not an option.
It's been really cool to build the business that we have here in Frisco.
It's one of those places where you want to be if you're into sports.
People are pointing here, and they're saying, I need to go there.
Laura, welcome to the Playeasy Warmup Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I am extremely excited to talk about footgolf today. And so to get us started, could you give a bit of your background and how you got involved with the game of footgolf?
Sure. My husband and I started footgolf here in the United States in 2014, and it happened because of, I think we were in a certain place in our life where we didn't have kids to worry about and things, and so we were kind of wondering what we were going to do for the next step of our life. And Roberto was watching a soccer game and happened to see a program that came on that was playing footgolf on it. It was called SOS Footgolf. They would interview a soccer player for 3 holes while they were playing footgolf. And it was out of Argentina. And it happened to be that the announcer and the producer of the program, we had met a couple years before. They had actually been in our house. So, and how that happened was, we were living in San Diego area at the time, and Roberto was a huge fan of Messi. It was when he was first coming into play, and he was very young, and Roberto wanted to just go to the hotel that they were staying at, see him walk through and maybe be able to get a picture taken with him. So as we were sitting at the hotel waiting for them to come back from practice, he happened to notice that it was the Argentinian press from the TV station he watches the games on, was sitting there too, waiting. And so he walked over and started talking to him. And if you're familiar with Argentinians, when they meet each other, it's like old family. And so next thing I know is he's promising them that he will take them around to go shopping at the outlet malls and have them to
That's
dinner if they will get him on the course or on the soccer pitch to be able to watch the game and maybe meet Messi. So he did. They were at our house for dinners and things for several days, and he was taking them wherever they wanted to go. And they gave him a press pass to be on the pitch there to watch the soccer game. It was a friendly between Mexico and Argentina. And so he did get his picture taken with Messi because they brought him over to him afterwards. And so through that, those were the people that had put this show together. And so he called them and he said, where did you, what is this? Where did you bring it from? And they said, oh, it's a European sport. We brought it here a couple years ago. There's playing it over in Hungary and the Netherlands and a couple other countries. And they said, I don't think anybody's doing it in the US. So we started discussing it, and I was like, this is a beautiful sport. It's great. I mean, the form that the players have when they're playing it and the interest of it being on a golf course, it was an interesting concept. And so we kind of said, this is a once in a lifetime chance of how many people get the opportunity to bring a new sport to a country. And so, not knowing any better, we just kind of dove in and found our way through it all. And that has led to 14 years of trying to bring the sport and let it be known and helping to build the international federation too.
That's incredible. I mean, and seriously, a once in a lifetime opportunity to bring
Yeah.
a completely new sport to the US. And so, was there a moment that made you think that this could become a real sport in the US?
Yeah, I think because, timing is everything. And when we started introducing the sport, and of course, we had to go to golf courses because it's played on golf courses. And the response at first was kind of shock. And what do you mean they're going to be kicking a soccer ball on my golf course? And then there were those that really warmed up to the idea. And we were dealing with sports people in the golf industry and finding out that many of them had played soccer at different times. And one of them especially had been both recruited for golf and recruited for soccer, and now ran a golf course up in Sacramento, California. And he started telling everybody in the golf industry about it. And it was at a time where golf was in a very different situation where they are now. They were losing players. There was lots of open tee times there. And so they were really receptive to bringing it in. And once the players started realizing what the sport was, they were hooked immediately. They loved it. And so we were like, yeah, this has some feet to it. It's going to be of course, we thought, in 2 years it would be all over the place, and not knowing what it takes really that a sport has to have that development stage and go through the ups and downs. And so we're on our journey.
Yeah. Yeah. And I told you before we started, but I did compete in foot golf, friendly, competitive,
Uh-huh.
after I graduated from college. And it was a time I wasn't that good at golf, and I'm very competitive. So my friends and I went to a local course to play. But for people who aren't familiar with the game of foot
Yeah.
golf, how would you describe it?
Well, we say you know, it's the kick of soccer, but it's learning to read the course like you're a golfer. So it's basically playing golf, but with a soccer ball into larger holes. And, we have our own cup, as you know. And so it's that feeling, of being able to sink the ball the same way that a golfer does. And you're on beautiful courses, you're out in nature. And so I think that's a real appeal to it too. And It is a lot of fun. Like you said, you'll start out laughing, but if you have a competitive side to you, you're not looking at your opponent anymore on it. You're, into your game and you're not making contact any longer for them.
Yeah, and you said that it could be as fun or as competitive as you want
Yeah.
it to be. Why is that flexibility so core to the sport's growth?
I think it is because it lets people enter at every level. So you can be somebody who just heard about it from a friend of yours that you had played soccer with and they had picked up the sport. Or maybe you're just out at Disney and they have foot golf at one of their courses there that families who come into Disney can buy into that package that includes the movie theaters and everything else. And foot golf is one of those things that they can do. So that is intriguing. It's something new. It's something different, maybe that the family hasn't gotten to do before. And most anybody can walk and kick the ball. I mean, you can play it with grandma and grandpa, and you can play it with the 4-year-olds. So it has that unique feature to it that it's something that most everybody can do.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting just the accessibility of it. You really just
Yeah,
need a ball on a course. But
exactly.
I'm always interested with new sports and how you get a buy-in from youth. So, what have you guys done as an organization to really push the sport to the younger generation?
Yeah, that's, for many years it wasn't really our focus. And when you're dealing with the youth, you really have to know what you're doing. And so we kind of backed off of that for a long time. But now in the last couple of years, we have seen that youth soccer and different soccer clubs for the kids have used foot golf as a fundraiser, and something that they're doing with their teams for team building and stuff. So it kind of had that natural fit for them. And then we got involved with New Jersey Youth Soccer on it. They had reached out to us when we were coming up there to do a tournament, like I said, about a year and a half ago. And they really loved it. They've got 125,000 kids there. And so they could see this as ways that they could keep kids involved in the off season, give them something different to do, and a fundraising tool for the different clubs too. So um, then they wanted us to maybe help them figure out a championship for their clubs in the New Jersey area. And then they also had the son of the executive director for New Jersey Youth Soccer had a fundraiser that he had started that was called Every Kick Counts. And it is playing on the golf course, playing foot golf, where they have a buddy that is a special needs kid and they play a pairs competition. And so for the last few years, this has been a fundraiser that they've done, and it is, I think last year or last summer, they raised like $10,000 for the organization, and it goes back into that community locally. So this is something now that they're spreading across the country, and we're trying to help them as we go in to do different tournaments, working with some local organizations or the local sports commissions and stuff to maybe duplicate the Every Kick Counts and bring it into that area.
That's awesome, and it speaks to just the importance of partnerships within
Yes.
this industry and expanding your sport. So, how do you think about building the right partnerships to grow participation and just overall awareness for the
Yeah.
sport?
One of the things that we have done is we have started clubs for foot golf that are our players who um, they started doing clubs and having club competitions several years ago, but now we're really encouraging them to take that club format and reach out to local players there that just would like to compete in foot golf, maybe not, at the level of traveling around the country playing the AFGL tour or competing on the world tour, but maybe just want to get out and play every once in a while. And so we have an amateur division now that they can come out and try the sport and play it. And so we're using that to really grow the sport and encouraging them to run these tournaments um, throughout the year on it and kind of be creating their own little leagues within our league. And I think, it really just takes time on it for the sport to get known. That was one of the conversations when we got started was kind of, well, you can spend all of your money on marketing the sport and letting everybody know that it's there. But if you don't have a place for them to play, then all of that isn't worth much. So it's been a really um, trying balance on it to keep enough courses that are playing it and available for foot golf in where there are players that have picked up the sport. And so that's always kind of a back and forth that we do. And like I said, especially now that golf is very busy and very strong again, it's kind of flipped the tables on us a bit.
And I'm sure this is a stupid question for you, but some might not know. Can foot golf be played at any golf course, or are there
Yeah.
specific venues that are just for foot golf?
There are a couple of places around the country that are just a dedicated foot golf course. There's one up in Michigan, and that's all they do. There's one down in Texas that was built on top of a golf course that was closed down, and some that they have disc golf and foot golf together. But most any golf course can add in foot golf, unless you're super hilly, where either if you're kicking the ball up the hill, it's just going to roll back because that is one thing. The soccer ball rolls a lot more than a golf ball does. And so, or if they were to tee off and it just travels down that hill and ends up wherever it's going to end up. But most any golf course can bring in foot golf, and it's just in the layout, which is things that we help them with. And understanding what the concept of the game is and that it really is like golf. You want to bring in those aspects of the things that make it challenging, the bunkers and the tree line and maybe whatever the topography is of the golf course there.
And so you have an upcoming RFP for events from 2026 to 2028.
Yes.
Could you, and also I appreciate how detailed your RFPs are. I think destinations do as well, because you do such a good job of laying out what is needed for that partnership. And so what are you looking for out of a great host partner?
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty easy to work with. I mean, if we have a location that really wants to bring it in and, they're going to be supportive of us, um, we're willing to work with them. And, one of the partners that we've had for a long time is Kissimmee Sports here in Kissimmee, Florida. And they were a great partner for the World Cup. They've been partners with us on the US Open and our national championship that we've brought into Reunion Resort several years. And so it's just really, helping with what they can in supporting the sport in the way that they can, with letting it be known that it's here, helping us with maybe any of the news outlets and stuff with the community, letting them know that foot golf is going to be there and to come out and watch. Our players love to have an audience there, and it's growing all of the time. And especially when we go into a resort, you'll see that all of a sudden people who have the condos that back up to the golf course, they're out watching the game. We were just in Palm Springs last week, and I see these ladies sitting in their pajamas out there with they'd move their lawn chairs out to watch as the guys were going by. It's funny how, the community, when they see it, it's an interesting sport and it's unique
Yeah.
and they really like to watch it. So, but, we also, of course, need any financial help that we can get, whether it comes off of the room nights or the amount of people we bring in. Whether it's help with some of the meals or the lunches and things like that. We really want to develop long-lasting partnerships with them. We don't want to be a one and done. We want, if we're going to bring something into a community, let's do it annually or semi-annually, or, do a run of years, that it's something that can be built up on both sides for them and for us.
I love it. And it speaks again just to the importance of the long-term partnerships
Yeah.
and the importance to that success. And so for anyone, a destination that is listening, what are the bare minimum requirements for a venue to host one of your national events?
Yeah, the buy-in from the golf course is key on it. We have to have a golf course, and preferably for us, it is a golf course that has enough interest in the sport that they're going to keep it there on it, or they're going to bring it in a little bit before we get there so that they understand foot golf a bit, and not just, come in, let's dig the holes, set it up for the weekend, and then we're done with it. I mean, we have, foot golf on some very impressive courses around the country. And even here at Reunion Resort, we take over one of the courses. There's 3 signature courses here. We take over one for 4 days. But they also have foot golf full time for their guests here. That is a 9-hole course that they use year round. They open it up in the afternoons, and we always see people out there playing the game. So it's
That's awesome.
it's got to be kind of that. I'm just not there wanting to sell out my golf course for the
Mhm.
weekend, because we find when they do that, they don't really understand the game. They're trying to keep us from really laying out a championship course on it. They're afraid that we're going to walk on their greens and do damage. And the fact of the matter is, we do way less damage than the golfers do, because we're not swinging a club and taking divots. I mean, if a foot golfer takes a divot, they've hurt themselves. So that's, we're just kicking that ball off of the tee and moving on.
Awesome. And so you've been using Playeasy as a way to connect with destinations
Mhm.
and potential hosts. Could you speak to just how that has helped with connecting with future hosts and
Sure.
just your overall supported growth?
Yeah, I mean, it has helped me because people get in and find us. I'm not happening to market out to them so much. Of course, we've met people at the different sports shows and things, but it's also easy for me when they say, "Hey, do you have your RFP?" And I may be traveling or something, and my answer is, "It's on Playeasy. Go get it from them." And then there, because we've got the ability to put some video there and some other links there, then they're seeing what the sport is too, which is really important
Yep.
to us, because it's not always what people think it is in their head. And then they see it on a video, and it's like, oh, okay, now I get it. So yeah, this really is like golf, isn't it? So it's just been a really big help in that. And Ryan has been great at like nudging me along, going, "Your RFP is expiring. Can you do you want me to do it?" I think sometimes he feels like, "Would you like me to write it for you?" So we're a small team here of about 3 people that keep this running. So and we get in over our heads a lot. So
Yeah.
you guys are
Well,
great help for that.
Ryan will definitely appreciate that shout out, and
Yeah.
we're always happy to hear. And so, looking ahead to 2026, you have the Folk Golf World Cup, and it's expected to be the largest ever with over 1,000 players.
Yep.
How is the U.S. preparing, and what are you most excited about for this global event?
Yeah, well, like I mentioned, we had our tournament in Palm Springs last weekend before this last one. And so it was our final qualifying event for the World Cup. So once we finished that, then it was announced those that had qualified through the World Tour, through the regional tours, and through the AFGL Tour. And so players just yesterday found out who is going to be on Team USA and who qualified for the individual competition. So it's an exciting time for them. They're all pumped up. They're, a few tears of those that didn't make it, I think, in frustration. But it's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, we're very close with the Mexican Association, who's going to be hosting it. We actually after we founded foot golf here in the U.S., we found it and found a partner in Mexico to start foot golf there and in Canada. So, and then turn those organizations over to them and just have supported them along the way. So this was exciting to see that they got it, and what they're doing is amazing. And it's going to be a World Cup that is like nothing we've seen before. The hospitality, the location, the backing that they have from their tourism there in Mexico, and being in Acapulco has been deemed the official beach of the FIFA World Cup that's going to be there. We will be there the 2 weeks before FIFA starts. And so they've already got the support, and the broadcasting will be done by Televisa, who will be, I believe Mexico has the first match of the FIFA World Cup. Our World Cup ends on the 7th, and I think the first match starts on the 8th, the 8th or the 9th of June there. So they wanted to see foot golf come into there so that they could be showing some things that's relating to the soccer ball to get ready for the World Cup. So it's exciting, and it's going to be great coverage for everybody to see what foot golf is around the world if they're not familiar with it.
That's incredible. And what a great opportunity to showcase the sport.
Yeah.
And could you expand just on what events like these mean for the sport's momentum?
Yeah, I mean, we are now in over 60 countries around the world, and Roberto and I have both sat as presidents on the International Federation in the past, and always, have been supportive of whatever needs to be done and sit on committees and things too. So, seeing that the attention the sport's going to be on a worldwide level just gets people excited. And, soccer players see this sport and they want to play. They see it as a way for them to either keep kicking a ball if they played soccer and then they've aged out or injuried out from running on the soccer pitch. They never lose that touch. I mean, we have players who are over 60 still playing the game. And it is because once you know how to kick and handle that ball, you don't lose that. And so they're able to compete in their division, and the World Cup will have divisions from 18 through the divisions go 18 to 45, 46 to 55, 56 and above is the senior plus category, and then women category too. So it's going to be a full World Cup with both, like I said, the individual competitions and the team competitions. And Team USA qualified to bring a team for all three divisions, in the women, in the seniors, and in the men.
Wow, that's awesome. And
Yeah.
I think every time our team at Playeasy hears about a new sport, as former athletes, we think that we can go out and compete. And so
Yeah.
for someone who is interested in getting involved with
Yeah.
this sport, what is the best way to do so?
Look for a local course in your area and call them up, make a tee time, get out and play, because there's nothing like experiencing it firsthand, as I think you learned. But it is just, I think there's such a community with the soccer people, and once they learn that the sport is there, they'll find other people, but they can always call us too. I mean, when we get emails and phone calls in of somebody saying, "Hey, I just heard about the sport. I want to learn more. Is there a club in my area, or is there, someplace that I can go play?" We'll get them connected. We'll get them talking to another player so that they can answer all of their questions. And the guys all of the time will go, "Hey, yeah, we have a group that's going to be meeting up at this course on this day. Come out and join us on it," because they like to share the sport.
Yeah. That's great. And it seems like just a great community to be a part of. So as we close out this conversation, what do you hope that destinations, potential partners, and even casual spectators would understand about foot golf as it steps on to the larger international stage?
Yeah, I think, for for us. I want them to know that even though, like I said, we're entering our 14th year of doing foot golf, it is it's a young sport, and it needs fans, and it needs players, and it needs destinations that are willing to bring it in, and to look around their community and go, yeah, this course doesn't get a lot of use on it. Maybe we could add foot golf into it and give it another demographic out there using the course. So that's really what we need right now, is more courses across the country on it. Because like I said, with the pandemic and golf getting so busy, it hurt us. And so we want to gain back some of these locations, and we've got players in some areas that are having to drive 2 or 3 hours to the nearest course to them, and it if a course brings it in, it's not just playing for the league and the serious player. It's a new family activity. It's a new way to get people out and doing something different. So I think that's what we need most. It's been interesting, and like I said, it's a ride. I don't think that we're unique to what other sports have gone through. You have your ups and your downs, and I really feel like now we're back in a really positive area, and starting to regain some of those courses. And with the World Cup coming in, I have places that are going to be hosting some of the FIFA World Cup. They are saying, oh yeah, foot golf fits in really well. We're responsible for doing some of the activities that are going to lead up to the World Cup. How could we bring foot golf in? Do you have a course in the area, or should we look for one here? And so that's, it's a great time to be bringing in foot golf, because there's going to be millions of people here for the FIFA World Cup that foot golf is so widely known across the world now. When they hear that there's a foot golf course that in some of their downtime they can get out and play, they're wanting to be kicking a soccer ball while they're watching it being played there. So
yeah, I mean, what an incredible opportunity I think that the sport has going into 2026. A lot of exciting things happening. And to finish us up, one question I always like to ask is, what has been your biggest lesson learned throughout this journey?
I think patience. It's that, we want things to happen really fast, and sometimes you just have to sit back and let time do its thing. And a sport, it seems that sports is unique, that when we look back at other sports, they were all the same process. They kind of go around in a circle, and then there's something that happens that clicks, that all of a sudden it's the overnight success, and not realizing that it had 40 years behind it of sitting there kind of, which I think foot golf will, I think we're almost there. I think it's right on that edge, because it is related to soccer. And so it piques the interest faster, I think, than some of the other sports. But we'll see, and we're along for the ride and trying to direct it the best that we can, and keep it moving forward. That's what we're here for. So we appreciate the support that we get from any of the cities and the sports commissions and things that have an interest in foot golf. We really, really appreciate that. And you guys are all so passionate. I had a great conversation with one of the sports commissions in Virginia today. So hopefully we will be bringing some new things there.
That's awesome. We love to hear good conversations starting and connections.
Yeah.
And it's clear from talking to you, just your passion for the sport. And so I have high hopes that things are only going up. And so, Laura, just to finish this out, if anyone would like to get in contact with you, is interested in your RFP, what's the best way of doing so?
So if anybody wants to contact us, get more information, you can look at footgolfusa.org. That gives you, takes you on to the competitive side of the sport. Footgolf.us gives you into the federation and kind of explains more the sport. and is our nonprofit side. And there will be information on Team USA and stuff there. So just Google foot golf and you're going to find us.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Laura, thanks so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure getting to know you and more about the game
Sure.
of foot golf. So thank
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it.
you. Yeah.
Bye
All
now.
right. Thanks, everyone. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.